In today's video, we're going to take a look at Netflix, and it's all about the time frame that you're trading. Anybody who's looking at the bigger picture in Netflix, this is what I would show you. The weekly chart where the most recent decline of 26 bucks was very similar to two prior declines of 27.27 and 27.35. Actually, this is where one of our last setups came from. It came from taking 100%. Let me grab that tool. Of this prior decline of the 27.35 and then projecting that from that high that was made in July, and that helped us catch that last low. And then here, when we pulled back and we saw the symmetry again, we're looking at this with the potential to maybe make another extension to the upside. So that's what I'm looking for in the bigger picture. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen for sure, but that's the current pattern. And if the pattern continues to play out, your typical target is the 1272 extension, or in this case, the area of 211.45. But what about the short-term stuff? What about my short-term traders? So on the daily chart, recently we smashed into a little bit of resistance in Netflix that came from the 618 retracement of one swing and the 1272 extension of another swing. And somebody asked me if there was a good pullback for a buy entry, and I was like, well, no, there isn't on the daily chart. Okay, because on the daily chart I really didn't see any new support for new entries until down here. But they were looking at another time frame chart, so I took a look at that, and let's just see what you can also do on the lower time frame chart, because some of you are day traders and you can use it this way. It's just that you have to be pretty quick and pretty nimble if you're going to do things like this. Here's an example where they saw a possible two-step. So I went to check it, measured the high to the low, projected it from the high. Yeah, 191.19, that's 100% of the first swing down. Where's an extension of the prior swing? I measured the low to the high, and then you can see the 1272 extension came in around the same area. And then you'd want to see a third price relationship to make it a two-step pattern cluster. And I just measured the retracement of the larger swing and found that the 382 retracement of the larger swing also overlapped that area. So that was considered a short-term setup decision. Now, typically the target I'm going to look for is going to be the 1272 extension, but you don't always make the target, obviously, and we certainly didn't make it during today's session, but let me show you how some people are using this. So you have the definition of risk for a short-term buy. You go down to a lower time frame chart to tell you that it's worth placing a bet. So for example, this is where we made the low into 191.22, which was, that area of support. And even using a 1-minute chart, you would have gotten a buy signal against it relatively quickly when you both took out a prior swing high, and then you also had the 834 EM8 crossover to the upside. Okay, so once both of those things occurred, which was here, it was okay to take the buy side, and then to define the initial risk could have been defined either underneath this low or underneath the low end of the zone, depending on how you write up your trading plan. And and then just go from there. Some of you are going to use a really tight stop, and you might have been stopped out of the trade pretty quickly when we didn't continue to hold above symmetry support. Any of you that tried to keep it for more of a move, the only thing we eventually got was basically a rally of $1.80 from that low. So for a day trade, if you caught something in the middle, you're generally pretty happy with something like that. So anyway, there are a lot of different things that you can do with this work. You just have to choose what time frame you're trading and what instrument you're going to use, or what type of option strategies and all that good stuff. And that's what I do all day long. Anyway, Happy New Year, everybody, and I'll be talking to you next year.